Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, let's talk legends. Let's talk legends. In the world of boxing, the heavyweight division, we always talk about the greatest ever. And when you talk about heavyweight divisions, you hear names, right? The greatest ever, you're going to hear of Muhammad Ali for sure. You're going to hear Joe Louis, right? Might hear Rocky Marciano. Some will even go as far as to say, hey, a Mike Tyson is the greatest heavyweight ever, right? And we boxing fans or sport fans generally, we all do one thing, Like you say, hey man, I said it was this and this. I was right. I told y'all. We all like to do that. We're all guilty of doing that. That's why we do sports. We like to argue about sports. We don't like, everybody's into sports so we can argue about it. That's one of the reasons. The ones that's gambling, you got the ones that's gambling, you got the ones that argue about it, want to be right about stuff. So that's what we all do. And so when you come here, I always tell you my GOAT is Lennox Lewis. I always give you the reasons to why my GOAT is Lennox Lewis, right? Because first we'll just start with the size of about 6'4", 240 to 250, right? You want to talk about his athleticism, right? You got to talk about his ring IQ. You want to talk about his punch repertoire, right? And then his mentality. And when you're looking at all those things, you're like, hey, all those Rocky Marcianos and Joe Lewis's and Jack Dempsey's and them, they're going to be too small, man. Ain't nobody, ain't nobody 5'10" to 6 feet, 190 pounds about to beat this guy. You better be 230. And all of them didn't beat him, right? Lennox Lewis' resume is ridiculous. The names on there are just ridiculous. Vitaly Klitschko, Mike Tyson, even though you're going to say they're older or whatever, but then he got a younger version of Mike Tyson, then David Tua, Ray Mercer, Shannon Briggs, Tommy Morrison, the people who beat him, he came back and beat them. If it was Rahman or my man, the one that I didn't like, the Oliver McCall, and Mike Tyson didn't want to fight him for years. Riddick Bowe, who's people got in their top 10 all time, big old dude, never threw his belt in the trash instead of fighting him. And Lennox Lewis just beat everybody. Frank Bruno's of the world. Just nobody in that era he didn't beat. And he retired beating everybody that he ever fought. Even those hiccups he had, he came back and avenged those. Wasn't in too many close fights, but come on, Ray Mercer was close, but normally not. Majakovic, who he beat, was also not bad fighter. This guy had beat everybody, so, and most people don't say that because we're conditioned to say those certain names. But like I always say, Lennox Lewis, 2 out of 3 against any heavyweight in any era I'm going with. So, I can get a see somebody agrees with me moment. Hasim Rahman, one of the only guys to beat Lennox Lewis, knocked him out, right? Hasim Rahman knocked him out. He's saying exactly what I'm saying. When asked who's the greatest ever, he says it's got he can't see anybody just beating Lennox Lewis really. And I know he means what I mean because he obviously did it already. But I know he means what I mean. Like if it's 2 out of 3, it's the heavyweight division. It's the division of boxing, period. You can get hit, and you win that fight. Especially if a referee called it like the Oliver McCall fight where Lennox Lewis is already up, still calling it off. Stuff like that could happen. I think Lennox Lewis would have weathered that storm against Oliver McCall and took him up out of there or beat him convincingly. Now, he was knocked out good by Hasim Rahman. And that guy who was able to do that says, anyway, Lennox Lewis is going to beat everybody in the history. And that's who I have. He says the same things. He says because of his speed, because of his athleticism, I'm going to put the article in the description box, and ring IQ, and those same things I'm talking about. But here's something also about Lennox Lewis, and this is what we're calling one of the greatest of all time right now, at present, is Alexander Usyk. What do you guys see that he has in common with Lennox Lewis, you older guys? The younger ones won't understand this. But I'm going to call it, what I always call it, the Van Helsing. The Van Helsing. Right? Anybody know the movie Van Helsing with your boy Hugh Jackman? Remember when the dude, the dude from the Hunchback of Notre Dame or whatever his name, or was that the Hunchback of Notre Dame, or was that the other dude? The dude that turns into the monster. I forget his name, but he turns into the monster when he drinks something. I forget his name. It's not hitting me right now. But anyway, when he was behind him or stuff, or when Dracula was behind him, running, about to try to get him, and Dracula was like, "Man, most people's heart beat faster when I'm around, but yours is not beating that fast. So you must be used to this kind of stuff." That's what I call the Van Helsing. Usyk let you talk all that smack. Lennox Lewis let you talk all that smack, but they're calm and they're gonna handle their business. And I always would tell you, people be talking smack to Lennox Lewis. "Yo, man, I'm gonna get you. I'll get you right now. You ain't about nothing. Everybody all hyping you up. You ain't about nothing. I'm about to get your ass. You ain't about nothing. Da-da-da." And what did Lennox Lewis say? "Bring it, man." That's all he say. And then the dude get nervous. "Hey, coach, what's up with that bring it man stuff? We didn't prepare for that." He's supposed to panic. No, he ain't getting no panic. And you're going to get done. Lennox Lewis is something to behold. Guys, look at your highlights. But here's the deal. When I say highlights, know who that person is that he's beating. Right? Know who they beat. Know what, because you probably won't even know if he beats David Tua. Everybody's not beating David Tua. You know what I mean? "Oh, Mike Tyson was old." Yeah, but Mike Tyson didn't fight him when he was young. It was the reason behind that. Vitaly Klitschko, oh, yo, he could have kept going. Not with that eye. Your eye was about to fall out. And that was Lennox Lewis's last fight on 10 days' notice to fight a Vitaly. Not even Vladimir. Vitaly Klitschko, who ain't nobody beating. Vitaly Klitschko's in the top 10 heavyweights of all time. Ain't too many people beating Vitaly Klitschko either. Let me make sure that's clear about why we go, talking quiet as kept. So for Lennox Lewis to say, "Okay, I ain't that fit," put my hands up and just walk down Vitaly Klitschko, that was also something in your last fight, not motivated, because you just took Mike Tyson out, right? Lennox wasn't even motivated for that fight. So there is a lot when it comes to Lennox Lewis. And Lennox Lewis sometimes is like the Scottie Pippen of heavyweight boxing. Somebody who's ridiculously awesome, but people kind of act like they didn't see. That's the same thing. Damn it, I saw. I'm not sitting here talking about watching box for all these years and going to say Lennox Lewis in front of all these other fighters for no damn reason. Y'all better recognize, because me and Hasim Rahman, we have. Lennox Lewis, greatest ever for me. Sorry. Doma Sports Talk. Worldwide. And I'm up out of here.